Today's video is all about step 3 of my 5x2 financial freedom framework. I am Tiffany Thomas with WealthyTiffany.com, and I achieved financial freedom and became a millionaire. If you're looking to do one or both of those things, make sure and hit that like button and hit the subscribe button, and we're going to dive right in. Recently, I shared an overview of my entire 5x2 financial freedom framework. So in today's video, we are going to go over step 3 in that framework, which we are going to talk about why you don't want to move forward without doing these 2 things first. And then we are going to talk about the 2 things you're going to need to figure out in order to know where you are going on your path to financial freedom. And then we're going to talk about how to figure those 2 items out. And then I will share my example and what made the biggest difference for me. So step 3 in my framework is all about where you are going. So we are going to talk about first our financial freedom number, and then second, when you want to achieve financial freedom. So those are the 2 main items we are covering in today's video. If you don't know where you are going, how will you know when you get there? You won't. You need to decide exactly where it is you are headed, where you are going. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, in 10 years even? So we need to figure out exactly how much it is going to take to become financially free. The way we are going to do this is by calculating our financial freedom number. And all this means is that we are going to take our annual expenses in retirement years and multiply that number by 25. And if you're not sure exactly how much you are going to be spending in retirement, that is totally normal because we don't know exactly how much we will spend, but we can get a pretty good estimate. We can take a look at our expenses currently and decide if it will be pretty close to that amount, or maybe we have a mortgage that will be paid off when we retire, or we have a car loan right now and maybe that will be paid off when we retire. So we could reduce our expenses by those amounts, but in your later years, even if you are retiring early, but when you are older, you're probably going to have a higher medical expense. So just figure out a rough estimate on how much you think you'll be spending each year in retirement, and then multiply that number by the number 25. For example, if you think your expenses are going to be $50,000 per year, you will multiply 50,000 by 25, and that will give you 1.25 million. So that is the amount of money you would need to have invested in order to become financially free or retire early. It's not the money that is sitting in your savings account, but the money that is invested, that is working for you, because you will start pulling that money out of your investment accounts, but it still needs to be working for you. So in case you haven't noticed, savings rates are really, really low. Even though they've gone up a little bit recently, they are still around maybe 1%, probably less than 1%. So that is not making your money work for you. If you have your money invested in the stock market, especially in the stocks or in an index fund that has a bunch of stocks inside of it, that is going to make your money work for you. The reason we are multiplying our annual expenses by the number 25 is because of a study that was done. It's called the Trinity study, and you can actually Google this and find a lot of information about this study. But I found one that is an updated study. They originally did this years and years ago, but the one that I want to show you is this graph. So if you have 100% of your investments in stocks, whether that's individual stocks or in a stock fund. And if you want to know what my favorite index fund is, I have a video about that. I'll leave a link above and below. You can check that out later on. But if we have our money invested 100% in stocks and we are retiring early, so we want this money to last 50 years, and we are going to use a 4% withdrawal rate, which means you can take your annual expenses, multiply that by 25, and then be withdrawing about 4% every year. And this is adjusted for inflation. So depending on where inflation is at, you may be able to withdraw more than 4% or less than 4%, but it is adjusted for inflation. So over that 50-year time span, you will have over a 90% success rate, which means your money will last you until you die, as long as that is within about 50 years from when you first start taking your investments out. So those are some pretty good odds. And if you want to be even more careful, you could reduce your withdrawal rate to 3.5%, or some people even go to 3%. I feel pretty comfortable at 4% because of this graph and because I know I can be flexible over the years. Since I did retire early, I can get a part-time job if I am really seeing my investments decline one year, or I can start some sort of side hustle, or just think of a few ways to increase my income a little bit and make up for any lack that the stock market might be having one year. So realize this is not the end all be all. This is the exact amount. Withdraw 4% every year and everything is just fine. You'll have to keep an eye on your investments, but it is a pretty good estimate. And if you don't feel comfortable having 100% of your investments in stocks during your retirement years, you could reduce that amount to 75% in stocks and still have a really good success rate. You can see from this chart that the orange line is 100% in stocks, so that is the line that's on top. And then the next color is green, and that would be 75% invested in stocks, and then you could put 25% in bonds. And you would still have a really high success rate at a 4% withdrawal rate. That's still around 90%. So figure out what your financial freedom number is and comment below and tell me, I know my financial freedom number, if you have figured it out. And then the second part of my step 3 in my 5x2 financial freedom framework is figuring out when you want to become financially free. And I put a link to a calculator in here so that you can play around with your own numbers and figure out your exact amounts. It's networthify.com/calculator. Now that we know our financial freedom number, the amount we need to have invested, we need to know how much we need to be investing every single month in order to achieve that number in a certain time frame. And like I said before, you want to keep a lot of your money in stocks, even though that may seem risky, but that's where your investments are going to grow. If you have your money invested in bonds, it's more about preserving your wealth instead of growing your wealth. So let's take a look at an example that I put in this calculator online. I gave the example of someone at the age of 35, and let's say that they are making $55,000 per year, and they have an annual savings rate, and this would be the money they are investing, not putting in a savings account. But that annual savings rate, as they call it, is 10%. And then I have that they already have $82,500 invested in the stock market. So that could be in a 401k or in a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA or even in a brokerage account. And if you're not sure what a brokerage account is or the benefits of having a brokerage account, I break it all down for you in another video. I'll leave a link above and below. So for the rest of this example, they can retire in 31 years by having a savings rate or investing 10% of their income every single year. So they would be able to retire at age 66. And that would mean they would need to be contributing $417 per month to retire by age 66. So you can probably guess if they are investing more than $417 a month, they are going to be able to retire sooner, which is why it is really important to invest as much money as possible as soon as possible so that you can reach that financial freedom number. And I do want to say it is not all about the money, right? It is about the option of quitting your job or staying at your job. But it's not because you would need to stay at your job for the money. It would just be because you wanted to stay at your job. You enjoy what you're doing. You can go to this calculator and input your own numbers and see when you can retire if you increase your investment amount. Comment below and tell me if you have used this calculator or a calculator like this one. And then, like I said at the beginning of the video, I wanted to share my example of becoming financially free. So at age 36 is when I heard about FIRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early. I saw a lot of people that were retiring and they figured out exactly how much they would need to retire. And I was so impressed with this because I remember sitting in the lunchroom at my 9-to-5 job with another coworker, and we would talk about how much we were going to need to retire, and we had no idea. We didn't know if it was $1 million or $2 million or $5 million. We had no clue. So once I found the FIRE community, I was super excited that there was actually this formula to figure out exactly how much I would need to retire. Once I figured this number out, I also discovered that if I had passive income coming in, or even semi-passive income, that I could reduce my expenses by that certain amount. So if I had an extra $100 coming in every single month, then I could reduce my annual expenses by $1,200. I already had 3 properties by this time, so I had some passive income or semi-passive income since I manage my own properties myself. But if I I wanted to get a property manager, then I could afford to pay for that and still be financially free. Since I figured that out, I reduced my annual expenses by the amount that was coming in from each of my properties. And I figured that if I was to purchase one more property, then that would put me at financial freedom. So that is exactly what I did. I purchased my fourth property at age 37, and it was right around my birthday. So when I got my official tenants in there, I became financially free at age 38. And technically, yes, I did retire at age 36, since that is when I officially quit my 9-to-5 job. But I just kind of looked at it that I didn't have enough cash flow coming in at that time. But once I purchased my property and had tenants in there, then at age 38, I had that amount of cash flow that covered my full annual expenses. So that's why I say that I became financially free at age 38, even though I quit my job at age 36. But I never got another full-time job or even a part-time job. So for me, real estate made the biggest difference because, like I just said, it created that cash flow for me. I had rental income coming in every single month to cover all of my expenses. If you want to retire early, it's not just about investing your money. It's also about creating that cash flow, the amount that you are going to live off of. And for me, it was easier to do that with real estate properties because I was collecting the rental income every single month. And yes, of course, you can do this with the stock market. And you can use even dividends that you might be receiving every single month, or you can cash out your stock market investments, or you could even use something called a margin loan and borrow against your investments. And I discussed that in another video, so I'll leave a link to that above and below. So for me, becoming financially free, real estate is what made the biggest difference. Although my stock market investments did help out greatly because I cashed money out of my Roth IRA, the amount that I contributed, and also money from my brokerage account in order to come up with part of the down payment for my fourth property. So figure out what is going to work for you, whether that is just the stock market, or maybe it's just real estate, or maybe it is a combination of both, or maybe it is investing in your own business or in someone else's business. And if you want to hear about the first and second steps in my 5x2 financial freedom framework, I will leave links to those videos in the description below, plus the link for an overview of my entire 5x2 financial freedom framework. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and share it with someone else who would like to hear this information, and hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and to the little bell to get notified on when I post new videos. And if you want to get 2 free stocks, Webull is doing a promotion. If you click my referral link below in the description and sign up for a free account, you can get 2 free stocks with Webull. And if you want to see even more content from me, check out the videos on the side of the screen. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.